update on Starship, because that's what, I mean, Starship's taking us to the moon, taking us to Mars.
That's the
And
goal.
it is audacious. Can you compare it to the Apollo?
It is audacious, yes.
Compare it to the Apollo vehicle, the Saturn V, for a comparison for a second, for folks to know, get a sense of it.
Sure. Well, I think the thing that's least obvious from when it's on the ground, from the videos and pictures, is the size of it. So it's going to be the largest flying object ever. So it'll be twice the thrust and weight of the Saturn V.
Amazing.
So that's just from a side, and taller. So including the launch escape tower. So it's a very tall rocket. 120 meters tall.
And because it's so wide,
yeah.
the proportions are obscure that fact, how big it is.
Yeah, you can see in some of the pictures that have been released when it's landing on the moon, and the people look like ants. It's a big rocket. This rocket is capable of at least 100 tons and probably closer to 200 tons of useful payload to the surface of the moon. So it's designed to be far in excess of NASA's requirements.
Yeah.
And so it's really intended to be something that that can enable a permanently occupied base on the moon. So we've got obviously a permanently occupied base in Antarctica, and it would be great to have one on the moon as well.
Yeah.
And you can do I think a lot more research if you have the scientists actually there. And we could have some very powerful telescopes.
It's the moon. There's some great sayings from Robert Heinlein that said, if God had wanted humanity to have space flight, they would have, she would have given us a moon.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's a great staging place.
Exactly. It's just off the coast. Mars is much further.
Yeah. One last question.
But I think more important than the size of Starship is the fact that it is intended to be fully and rapidly reusable.
Yeah.
So this is the fundamental holy grail breakthrough needed for access to space. To make humanity a true spacefaring civilization, we must have a fully and rapidly reusable rocket. Now we've made some progress in that direction with Falcon 9, where the booster is reusable, and the Dragon spacecraft upper portion is reusable, but the second stage is not reusable, and I would say right now, I would not say the Falcon booster spacecraft and fairing they're not rapidly reusable. Like, it takes a fair bit of effort, much less effort than the space shuttle took.
Yeah.
But
that was a turnaround every year or so.
yeah, exactly. We had 4, and it took like a year to turn them around. We're getting it down to a few months, basically, and soon, I think probably under a month to turn around a booster. But landing out to sea and then having to bring it back, and then sort of taking a month or so to get it ready for launch is still, what do you call that, rapid by aircraft standards. Whereas Starship is intended to be both fully and rapidly reusable. So the booster comes right back to the launch pad, literally is caught by the launch tower.
Yep.
So it lands and is actually caught by the launch tower arms. That's aspirationally. So the booster it comes back about 6 or 7 minutes later, and is caught. So it's right there, and then caught by launch tower arms and placed right back onto the launch stand.
Amazing.
And then the ship is. I actually want the ship also to be caught by the launch tower. Now the ship it takes at least 90 minutes to orbit the Earth.
Yeah.
And we may take more than one. It may take 3 or 4 orbits to get the ground track realigned with the
landing zone. Yeah.
The landing zone, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
But the point is that the ship will come back and land right by the tower and be placed right back on. And so.
Like a 767, just refuel and go.
It's intended to be such that the booster can be used, I don't know, a dozen times a day, and the ship.
Wow.
The ship could be, basically every couple of hours, and that's mostly about reloading propellant and mounting the ship, and then the ship could probably be used, probably every. In theory, every 3 hours, if you can make the ground track match. But certainly every, say, 6 to 9 hours. We'll call it twice a day with the ship. And we'll make more ships than there are boosters. So, and I think once we have the floating space platforms, we can position them such that the ship can come back in a single orbit.
Amazing.
So then it could be like, let's say if we can get 3 ship launches per day, that's 1,000 flights a year. Each with 100 to 150 tons.
Now we're talking a real space program.